Hey, this is Jonathan, and you might be wondering what I'm doing on Wikipedia here. So, I was thinking about the problem of, having unique seeds that are also easy to enter in for the user, of course. And this seems like it might be what I need. Some kind of hash function, because it will take map data of arbitrary size to data of a fixed size, and that's pretty much exactly what I have, right? So just to let people know, I guess, or anyone who's actually watching this for whatever reason, I've been looking around at the link to the past randomizer. I haven't actually used it, so I haven't downloaded any ROMs or anything, so I can't actually do this. So I've only been able to look at this stuff. This is their customizer, by the way. This is how you can kind of like fabricate your own sort of seed or world, I guess is more accurate, because you're not really creating a randomizer seed. This is just you choose the options and you give these game settings to someone else, and they play the game with your selected item locations and everything. But yeah, this is what the interface looks like for the customizer, by the way. Good to know. This is my first time actually looking at this. It's I don't know how I feel about this UI. It's very much just like a bunch of like text boxes, drop lists, that kind of thing. Not really easy to visualize what's happening, but I don't know, like trying to have a more visual, user-friendly experience might be kind of difficult. That being said, I think that in the future, if I ever do a customizer like this, I think I could probably do a better job. And I don't doubt that the people who made this could also do a better job. I'm sure that they know that they could as well, but they just chose not to because, well, it's quick and dirty, right? And this doesn't look like awful or anything. It's not the most user-friendly thing in the world, but since there's so many options too, I think they just decided that this would just be the easiest way of implementing everything, at least for them, while still being fairly usable from the user perspective if you know what you're doing. And I do think that this isn't the worst way they could have handled this. Like, they even have a search here. Like, this is not at all bad. Like, something like this is pretty cool. I like this. This is very cool. Yeah, this is the kind of UI display that I think would work better for some of these other things, like for locations, instead of having it be like this and have the locations be named. Maybe like display the map, and then you can like zoom in and like click on different locations and set the items that way, or you can switch to a view more like this that allows you to, like search for the location you want instead of having to look around on the map, for people who are like less UI oriented. Anyway, that's sort of getting off topic here. What I did was I looked into how seeds are generated from the Link to the Past randomizer, and it looks like they also seem to do this. 10 characters, just letters and numbers. So it's the same thing that Crypto the Necrodancer does, interestingly enough. And yeah, that just brings us to a page like this where it asks us to upload a ROM, which I don't have, so I can't do that. So it got me wondering. There are 26 letters on the keyboard, right? If you don't include lowercase letters here, they seem to exclusively be using uppercase, and they also have digits, and there's 10 digits, right? 0 through 9, which means that each one of these characters can have up to 36 different possible values, because 26 characters, or like 26 letters plus 10 digits is the same thing as 36 different combinations. And if you think about it in like binary, for example, you could have maybe, I don't know, like a string like this of zeros or ones, and the number of different possible values is, well, it's 2 to the number of bits, right? Because it's 2 because there's 2 possible values for each one of these characters here, right? And so that got me thinking. So how many different combinations of seeds are there? Well, they would have 36 different combinations or 36 possibilities for each of these characters. And since this is a string of length 10, that'd be 36 to the power of 10, which is kind of large. Yeah, I don't think that their seed is actually, you know, that large. I don't think it's that many bits at all. So that got me thinking, like, how are they doing this? And the obvious solution is, well, hashing. You can map data of arbitrary size to a fixed size. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they're doing here. They're hashing this string somehow, and they're basically mapping it to some smaller length fixed size seed. So in my case, what I have here, the seed length was where was the seed length? I find it somewhere. It was in module, I think. Yeah, I have a seed length of, well, 32, but it's going to be what, times 8, because each entry in the seed is a byte, right? So that's 8 bits times 32, which is, I think, I can't remember how much that was anymore, but it was 256, I believe, is what was said somewhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that it was like 256 bits. And yeah, having like this complexity mapped to something that's 256 bits is yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, and I also don't think that they have 36 to the power of 10 bits. I don't think that's very feasible. So, or I mean, it might be feasible. I don't know, but I doubt that's what they're using as their seed. That's just kind of huge for a seed. So yeah, that I definitely think that they're doing some kind of hashing with those strings. That's going to be it's going to be tricky, I think. So when you generate a seed, I don't know how you'd get the hash for it, like the corresponding hash. Maybe you have to generate the hash first? I don't know. So I haven't done sufficient research in that area, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But just because I haven't done sufficient research in that area, it doesn't mean that we can't continue. Now, all this stuff here. I did some thinking, and I actually don't know if there's any reason I wouldn't want to do all my inputs in, you know, this get transfer ID method, or in essentially handle event over, you know, a separate system, because ultimately you're going to be firing off this anyway. So you'd be firing off like something that picks up events here and does stuff with inputs, and then you're going to be firing off yet another method that handles inputs. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, really. So that's really confusing, I guess, is what I want to say, because they have a bunch of examples of code where they just run a separate system for handling input. I don't know why. They just do. And at least for the Pong game, maybe that makes sense because you're not going to be doing any state transitions. But I don't see why they wouldn't just use handle event. So yeah, that's a mystery. I might just ask on the forums at some point why they do that, because I don't really know the answer. And it's kind of bugging me, and it's... yeah. Could be a problem later on down the line. I mean, I kind of doubt it will be, but it is kind of annoying. There's this one thing where some people do it one way, some people do it the other way, or I don't know if it's valid to use like a mixture of both ways. It's just confusing. So we're gonna ignore that for now. My current focus will be on using the seed to actually, I guess, generate a world. So hook everything up with the filler, finally. So to do that, also I do want to make sure that this is that constant that I defined, wherever that is now. That would be in super, I believe? Actually, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's super. Pretty sure it's super. Come on. Oh wait, that doesn't... Wait, where's this constant defined then? Oh, it's defined under states. Ew. Okay, I didn't think about that. Then again, do I want to be affecting my test if I change that? It's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, if that's what I want to do. This is reaching pretty far, I will say. Just to access this thing, which I don't think I actually can access. Okay, well, yeah, forget that. I think we're just gonna have to... Gosh, stupid IntelliJ being laggy and bad sometimes. Look at all these arrows. Something tells me that this isn't right. I think it's because it's slow at realizing that this isn't runnable anymore. Like, I added a line and then it pushed this down, and yeah, there we go. It's just being slow. It is really funny, though, to see all those play arrows just show up. We're gonna leave the 32 here, I guess. I don't really like it, though. I'm gonna make it a constant, I think. But yeah, let's make it a constant. I should also learn how to spell. That would also help. You want to type, don't you? Sure do. I don't remember the type this is supposed to be. I think it was like U-size is what I was expecting. Yeah, because this is oops, what am I doing? It has to U-size because what was it? What are you complaining about? It does have a value. It's 32. Yeah. Something about array indexing, and this is an array of some size, so I have to use U-size. That's just how it works. This is fine. Yeah, alright, I'm okay with that. So that was a minor distraction. What was I trying to do? I was trying to hook up this to, I guess, play, right? Because play is the place where we go to do things. Yes. So we have on start here. Yeah, right now I just print lines play, which is not at all what we want. Alright, so I have the seed. I get it from somewhere. I probably want to, I guess, store the hash eventually as well would probably make sense, honestly. So I think what I currently have for seed generation isn't correct. At least not for the definition of correct that I'm using, which is basically matches what everyone else does. But yeah, it makes sense to me to do it that way with the hash. At least to my tired brain. Maybe sane Jonathan wouldn't agree with me, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Something about the seed and the randomizers. Oh yeah, like I'd have to create like a seedable RNG, which is okay, I guess. I want to say, since everything related to the shuffling will happen right in this spot here at the beginning of the play state. Actually, does that make sense? Should I be using the play state for that? I'm not sure I want to be using the play state for this, actually. Because what if I pop... Okay, so theoretical or hypothetical. Wow, my brain is seriously not working. Like I can feel myself struggling to find the right words today. Can you stop, please, and stop doing that? He's probably going to complain later that that color scheme doesn't work, and then it'll or that it killed OBS. I'm just waiting for that to happen, because that's what it does. So yeah, crap. I can't think. My mind is so like fried right now. If I push a pause state, like if I pause the game and then I unpause, as we've seen before with the other states, that's going to run on start again. If that runs on start again, we're going to be we're going back to you know, do you know? My brain's not working at all. Wow, this is bad. This is just bad. Yeah, we go back to that to that. Yes. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm trying to say. I can't really describe it very well. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is we need an intermediary. Is it intermediary? Intermediate state? And that'll be like the randomization state. And as soon as it finishes randomizing, it'll go to the next state. That's what makes sense to me. Yeah, and the next state would be the play state. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. It doesn't necessarily have to make sense, but that makes sense to me. Oh boy. And when we're in the randomization state, are we gonna show anything on the screen? I don't know. I mean, it's just a state. It doesn't necessarily have to have it's not necessarily like a room or anything, or like a new environment or scene or whatever. I don't know. Or I could do everything in on start here. But no, I can't, because right, like I said, if I unpause the game, then I'm gonna re-randomize everything, and oh no, there goes, well, everything. The alternative is to do the randomization in the caller. But I don't like that because there's multiple places where, yeah, we might end up going to play. Well, if I think about it, I guess a state isn't really necessary. Because I think a state might be overkill. The caller could be responsible for this. It could call like some function, and that one function will handle all the randomization stuff, and it'll return one result, and that result will be passed into here, and that's what will be used for, well, everything here. I mean, we still want the seed for, you know, making sure that enemies all behave the same way between machines playing the same seed. But otherwise, yeah, for all the other data, like locations, everything could be done. Yeah. Everything could be passed into play. Or, instead of passing everything into play, we could just, you know, create entities and stuff for them, right? We don't have to pass stuff directly into play. We can create the appropriate entities. I mean, we do have to generate the world on start here, I'm sure. Well, do we want to do it on start, though? See, the problem with on start is just the fact that it gets called every time you pop the next state that hasn't pushed onto the stack. It calls on start every time. That's what I don't like. Because looking back at, what was it, main menu, yeah, the creator creates this stuff all over again, even after we deleted all the entities, because we're calling on start a second time. In fact, I can probably prove it too by putting like a print line in there. I'm gonna do that just to be absolutely sure, because I don't want to take any chances here. It's too risky. There, that's how I feel. That's how I feel today. Just bleh. Alright, so run the game, because why not? Yeah, I shouldn't be recording at like 11 p.m. on a weekday. It's just that things kind of ended up going this way because I was trying to do a bit of extra research beforehand, and I got kind of carried away. I should have just saved the research for on camera. Would have made more sense. Then again, I don't necessarily have to record for all that long. So there's that. Alright, so we go... did you print? Bleh? You did. Okay, good. So now we go there. Print up a whole bunch of stuff. And if I click back... Is it bleh again? Yeah, it did. Okay. So yeah, it does bleh twice. That is not good. At least not for what I'm trying to do. So essentially, I need to do some on-exit stuff. Where was it? It's not on here because I had to restart my computer. That's right. Yeah, the lack of tabs is because of that. I restarted my machine because I had to. This is definitely not. This is not peak performance. This is not what peak performance looks like. Don't look. Don't look at me. Wow. I forgot what I was trying to do. I came here and then I totally just don't remember anything. I'm just here. I'm here now. Wait a minute. Ah, yes, on stop. There we go. That's what I need. What? On pause. Execute when a different game state is pushed onto the stack. On resume? Whoa! Okay, very interesting. So on start is called every time, either on a push, on a pop. It doesn't matter. As long as you enter the state, it always calls on start. Presumably on resume only happens if you pop. Interesting. So here's the problem. I don't have any way of, just doing an on start, but only doing that once. So it does stuff as soon as you enter, and then never again. This sounds like that's what it would do, but that's not at all what it does. I'm guessing on stop always executes every time you exit this state to another state, so either on a switch or a push. This one probably only executes when you're on a push. So yeah, this is interesting. That being said, just because you can't execute some code only once on start, it doesn't mean that I can't just use an on stop or an on pause to achieve roughly the same effect. At least from the oh gosh, from the previous state, the caller, the one who says go to the next state, that state can execute the initialization code for the following state. And that should be okay. So I guess this is something that I should do in on stop. I feel like that makes sense, right? And in that case, I don't need to do this even. When I transition to a new state, I should specify what to do when I transition to a new state here in these methods. These methods are there for that reason. So maybe this mutable world thing was never necessary to begin with. Maybe I was just being silly all along. And this should have just been returning transitions, because that's what I originally intended for it to do. I didn't intend for it to be doing extra side effects like deleting stuff. Although I don't necessarily know what the next state is, do I? Not really. No, these are kind of do this anytime you exit the state. start game button. Well, the start game button probably wants to delete all the stuff too, actually, now that I think about it. But if there's anything specific I want to do as a side effect, while I don't know. What? After I push custom game? Because this is for state transitions. This is meant for state transitions. If I click something and I want to do something else, when I transition to that state, specifically to that state, then yeah, I guess I would want to do this. Honestly, this seems kind of nitpicky, and like I feel like I'm overanalyzing this, and there's really no point in worrying about this. But that's how I get sometimes. I just overanalyze things. I'm starting to think that having a separate state is actually better, because then I can just transition to that state. Then that intermediate state will handle preparation before switching over to the next state. You know? Like, I feel like that almost makes sense. Maybe? Well, the problem with the intermediate state is that then we have to spend another, like, frame, you know, computing stuff in that state before we finally get to the state afterwards, which is kind of silly. So I feel like doing stuff directly between states like this is probably like the most efficient way of doing things. Yeah, adding the extra state in between is not going to be as efficient, because then we have to do an additional update before we can transition again to the play state. But not that that's going to be really noticeable. I mean, it's like one frame, but still. It seems kind of suboptimal. I don't know. Yeah, this whole thing isn't as nice as I thought it would be. Because I still want to just do stuff. I want to perform these like side effects before I transition to certain states. But for things like deleting all the entities, like cleanup, that probably should be done in like on stop or on stop. So like world.delete all, probably more suitable for on stop. But if there is specific stuff I want to do before I transition over to the play state, then like I think it makes sense. I genuinely think it makes sense. Did I seriously do a switch to enter the play state? Why? Instead of a push? Well, wouldn't it make more sense to just do a push? Because I think that after you get to the game over state, you're gonna pop and then you're gonna end up. Yeah, I think this should actually be a push. Pretty sure that I wanted this to be a push and I wasn't paying attention. I could open up the diagram again and check, but I'm kind of tired and I don't really want to. Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense, actually. Let's on stop. So the signature of on stop is the same as the signature for on start. What a surprise. And it's roughly going to be the same kind of structure here. We're just going to do this world.delete all instead, though. And that's all. That's all we're doing. So now, anytime we try to do a state transition here, we're going to just delete all the entities. And I feel like that makes sense. At least for now. Obviously, this is not the most efficient code, and obviously the black screens between state transitions is going to be jarring. But well, for For something like this, I'm okay with that. Did I not do the same thing for main menu? I didn't. Let's do that. Well, it's nice that I can just paste it in like that. And it'll just work. So let's try that. Let's make sure that that works before we move on. Yeah, so we need to decide where do I want to do all the play state stuff construction. Oh, that doesn't work at all. What the heck? What? What is it doing? On stop doesn't do anything. That did nothing. What did that do? It certainly didn't do what I thought it would. On pause? These methods might be kind of broken. It's just a thought. Does this work the way I think it would? Or is this also going to just... Okay, that does. That one works the way you think it would. Why does onStart behave the way that it does? That's so confusing. I don't understand why onStart does what it does. It doesn't make sense. Because there's already an onResume, right? Like, to me, well, it seems like a case where someone had something very specific in mind for onStart, and that's why it behaves the way that it does. Compared to these other methods that kind of make more sense, I guess. Or maybe onStop is the one that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Actually, onPause doesn't even make sense for a custom game, does it? Except that's exactly what it does? Wait. But... Hold the phone. Hold the phone. The back button... Oh, the back button is a push. Wait, why am I doing a push? That's awful, isn't it? I think that's awful. I'm pushing a new state for some reason. I should be popping. Yeah. That just makes sense. Why not just pop? Okay, how about on stop now? Okay, I'm glad that I caught that, at least. That was a really not so good mistake. So how to overflow your stack of stuff. I can't believe I didn't notice that. Oh, hi. That makes a lot of sense. onStop doesn't... sorry, onStart does only run once. I'm just being dumb because of that one mistake that I made. This does only run once. Oh. I see. Well, I made some good observations today. Even though I am incredibly tired and doing a lot of stupid things, my stupid reasoning has led me to discover another stupid thing that I did way in the past. So, hooray! That's progress. And that also means that onStart is allowed to do everything that I want it to do in the play state. So I'm very happy. onStart is my friend again. It's not stupid. I'm stupid. So I think that's actually what I'm going to call it for today. I know it's another part of me just kind of faffing about and not really getting anywhere, but making observations is important, especially observations like these. So to me it's still progress in a way.